See, sustainability is now an issue which is being looked at very closely and sensitively all over the world. If, as you are probably aware, that even the United Nations has set up its own SDG or Sustainable Development Goals. And that is because we are world over realizing that the planet has been really, treated in a manner where things have gone completely out of control. So across the world, there are now major climatic changes that are taking place, and for the worse. So this has resulted at a global level to look at how developments that take place have to be more sustainable. And by that, it means how they are more in harmony with nature. And because design and construction are very important elements, like they could be other aspects, like, for example, mining or, industrial development, etc. These are aspects which have strong impact on our environment. Similarly, construction, and because design is related to construction, that also has a very strong impact on environment. So from that perspective, sustainability becomes very important, that whatever new construction is done, whether it's in cities or towns or even in far-flung areas, this must be done in harmony with nature. So that's what really sustainability is about. There are few and far between examples only which keep emerging where development is sustainable. If we look at the mass scale or the general scale, we are still not sensitive to sustainable development. So at the moment, there are obviously few and far between examples, and those examples are spread across the country. One was to look at it, as different aspects which people can think of when they are, if they want to build responsibly, sustainably, then across any city, let's say in India. So I would say the few things that people can look at is, first is that what is there existing on that site. So if that site has existing trees or landscape, can we incorporate that? Or if it has a, let's say, a rivulet running through, or even, for example, in urban areas, you don't have rivulets, etc., but you would have trees. Can we conserve that rather than cutting them? Similarly, there could even be some existing structure or some existing building on that site. Is it possible that that building or parts of that building or the material of that building can be reused rather than just calling the excavator and demolishing that building and building afresh? Because if you can reuse parts of the building or reuse material, then you are doing something which is more environment friendly. So I think these aspects to begin with, and then if you, whatever new part you're building, whatever new construction is coming up, that construction should be such that it keeps its dependence as low as possible on non-renewable sources of energy. And we are able to use sources like solar energy or wind or recycle water as much as possible. So if these elements are done, and also the kind of construction that is done, for example, orientation of the buildings itself. If you are building in North India, then you should not have too much glazing on the south, or you should protect it. You should have enough shade protection, and you should avoid too much glazing on east and west, because the low angle of the sun again brings in a lot of heat. So and then you can use double walls so that you insulate the walls so that the heat doesn't come into the building, and then you don't need to cool it that much. So all these kind of principles, I think, are very simple principles. They don't require too much engineering, but they can lead to big implications in conserving our environment. Yeah, I think urban planning has to be going forward be more sustainable, because that is the only way our cities will remain livable. Otherwise, we are going to actually, and this is not something where one is exaggerating the result of it, but the fact is, because today we can ourselves see, when you hear that Cape Town in South Africa or our own Delhi is running out of water completely, or the air pollution is so bad, the air quality is so bad that people can't breathe and are developing problems with their lungs, etc. So these are now realities. These are not somebody who's making exaggerated doomsday predictions. So I would say if we have to keep our cities livable, then it is absolutely imperative that urban planning takes care of that. And there are many ways to do that. What is urban planning? Urban planning has aspects of, for example, transportation, greenery, or the landscaping of water, roads, etc. These are all aspects that come together of urban planning. So if we can, as urban planners, make policies that we rely less on private transport, private vehicles, but there is a good public transport system. Last mile connectivity has to be better. So that in itself saves so much on vehicular pollution. Similarly, if we are able to have policies that you are able to conserve the lakes and water bodies, whether it is in Madras or Chennai or Bangalore or Delhi, all these cities have water bodies. We have gone about and destroyed these water bodies. So they should be conserved. Green areas should be conserved. Buildings that are built should be in respect of each other. There should be enough space for pedestrians. All the night, the safety and security of people, whether it's women, children, or other citizens of the city, all these aspects come into the domain of urban planning, and all these aspects have a direct impact on our environment and sustainability.